everybody. Welcome to the show. You're watching Variety Talk Live, and I'm your host, Linda Leak. And welcome to our Super Bowl after party celebration. We're so happy to have you here, and have a twofold purpose for our show today. The very first being to do what? Celebrate and give honor to the city of brotherly love. Congratulations on winning the 59th Super Bowl. And we're very, very proud of you and excited about your success. So kudos to everyone. And we're also here to celebrate and continue within our Black History programming and series. We like to celebrate an African American coach who has invented a program. And speaking of going down in history or going up in history, because he's a young man, comparatively speaking, who has invented a technique for non-injury for all football players. And this technique in fact, this coach is eminent. He is the eminence of health and wellness in the coaching industry. So designated by the IRS in 2021. So very, very important. We like to bring on first. And we had our first with Trina Parks last week, who was the first African-American female to play in 007, Diamonds Are Forever. And now we've got our very first African-American football coach who has invented this non-injury technique. So we're going to bring him on, and many of you may may be familiar with him already, as he is an actor. You may know him from the film OJ, from the OJ Simpson story. He actually played OJ. He also was the actor in DC Sniper. And he's been in over 300 national TV commercials as well. He played right corner with UCLA. And he played in the Canadian Football League as well as the USFL. So this gentleman has been extremely busy, and now he owns and coaches. He actually coaches at a university, at San Bernardino University, and he also owns which is the most important thing that we're going to speak about today. He teaches children. And within an academy, it's called Train 'em Up Academy. And this gentleman just spends lots and lots of times of saving parents money, time, and worry by way of this injury-free technique. So when we come back, we'll have an opportunity to introduce to you this man of many hats. Many of you have met him last year when he joined us in our post-Super Bowl after party, and we had a great time talking about his films. Today, we're going to spend more time honoring this gentleman because of what he's done, but more importantly, we're going to talk about how you can get involved with what he's doing in terms of this injury-free technique. So when we come back, everybody get ready, get your pens and your paper, because this is somewhat technical in regards to this new technique that he has. And we'd like all of the parents to join in. And we've got something for you before we close at the end of the show. All right. So you're watching Variety Talk Live. I am your host, Linda Leak. And sit back, relax, and get ready to celebrate with us. We'll see you in a minute. Hi, everybody. We're back. And as I mentioned, I am now able to give the name out. And for you, all of you who have joined us before, we'd like to welcome on Mr. Bobby Hosea, CEO, coach of Train 'em Up Academy, and actor, overall good guy. All right. And he does so many things, as we mentioned before. We'll get off the accolades and just talk to this gentleman directly and find out what else he's got for us today. So, Bobby, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Linda. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're so happy to have you. And I have to brag on you. I have to make sure I get, and I only got out like a little portion of everything that you are doing and have done. But we're extremely proud to bring you on today. And as you know, I have been pursuing you coming on this show, even though you've been with me since radio. But I mean, really, once you got this 12-step progressive technique going on, I wanted to make sure that the world heard about it. And frankly, it was during the same time that the movie Concussion came out. And when you told me, that you had this technique that would help alleviate concussions, I was just on it. And I felt like I couldn't rest unless I got the word out myself to people. And I still feel that passionate about it. So welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about. But before we get started, we want to find out what you think about the game and the halftime. And, speaking of Black history, give us your feedback, first of all, on the game.
Well, that defensive front was monster. And when you can only use four guys to put pressure on the quarterback, keep him contained, sack him, then that means you got seven other guys downfield to cover five guys. So you have an advantage. So the hats off to the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles. They came with it. And the guys covered downfield, and they made Patrick Mahomes look like he was a rookie. But that was because of the front. So it was. Some people thought it was a boring game, but I'm a defensive guy. I can appreciate defense, and they were awesome. They were outstanding. And their offense, they had like number 11. What's his name? Brown, I think it is number 11. That guy, he's a man among boys. They couldn't cover him. And then Smith, number 6. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. You wouldn't think it by his body size, but you saw why he won a Heisman Trophy when he did it out. So I was excited. It was a great game. I know it was slow for a lot of people, but I appreciate great defense when I see it. I love the big uns. I mean, in my mind, I was 179 pounds when I played, but in my mind, I'm 6'4", 240, because my heroes as a kid was Dick Butkus, Willie Lanier, Mike Curtis, and Ray Nitschke. 4 linebackers. No DBs, no receivers, no run. Not even OJ was my hero. Those 4 guys, because I always see myself as 6'4", 240, but I'm 6'1", 190 now. But I always thought of myself as a big dude. So I really love the big uns.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to hear your take on it. And there's been lots of talk about what happened during the Super Bowl halftime, in the respect that people did not expect the message that was given out in so many ways with the talent. So first of all, let's start with, I really, really enjoyed the National Black Anthem, which was something a little different. What did you think, done by Lettucey? What did you think about that?
I loved everything about it. We need to be recognized. We are football. Without black people, there ain't no football. It wouldn't be exciting. It wouldn't be anything. So honor us, I loved it. And I loved what Dot did with his performance because it was making a statement about this country. We are divided and we need to get together. But we need to get together as black people first. All this red and blue, and come together, not be separated. Because that's just what is his name? Willie Lynch. If you ever read the book about Willie Lynch, how you can control black people for 300 years, read that. And that's what's going on. You got the black, you got the red, you got the blue, you got the nappy hair, you got the good hair, you got the big lips, you got the small lips, you got the dark skin, you got the light skin. Everything way you can think of, they separate us, and we separate. We got to get out of that. We got to flip the script and come together as a people. And that's what it was all about. It wasn't about dancing and singing and being all happy and just forget about it. No, we made a point to make a statement. I was very proud of it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, a lot of people thought that it was just supposed to be singing and dancing, and the point that they were trying to make when the players, when they divided those colors, they were showing the division of the country that it's in right now. So they were actually getting a message across. Also, I was told that when they bent over, that was indicative of America being built on the backs of the slaves. And so that was the reason why they bent over and did that certain part of the dance. And so there were a lot of messages involved. And I was also told that initially he was asking everyone before he began to make sure that they paid attention to the message because he had one. And so I thought that that was really great and very appropriate at this time when we have so much division going on politically. And I hate to use the word political because, frankly, it is our lives. It's not, we sort of say political and we put it in a box like that's that over there, when in fact it affects all of us as things are being dismantled as we speak. So our laws, our rights, our Constitution is being dismantled as we speak. And
Right.
so I thought that that was great to be able to for him to put that message out there. There's a lot of controversy about Serena Williams. I thought she was cute, but whether she was doing that for her ex-boyfriend or I don't care, and I don't think people cared. They make a
That's
big
her
deal.
neighborhood.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but that's her neighbor. She's from Compton, so that was brilliant to have her there. And then she's the greatest tennis player of all time. So we come from nothing to be the best. So we are somebody, you know. So we're
Exactly.
not nobody. We're not just slaves. We're not former slaves. We built this
Exactly.
country, and we're still building. Well, we got to get ourselves back together because we got to get our music back. I miss the OJs. I miss Luther Vandross. I miss James Brown. Get back music that makes you feel good and tell our story, right?
That,
Not all
that,
this violence and hate and shooting one another. That's what they want. That's still what's his name? Like Willie Lynch. That's still Willie Lynch. It's
and
still Willie Lynch. And so let's flip that script, man, and come together and be powerful. We can have our own networks. We can have our own football league. We can have our own everything. We had it. And then we got segregated. We got what we integrated. We had our own baseball league. We had our own, our own football league. We had everything, and it was prosperous, right? We had our own Black Wall Street. We had all that, and it was all destroyed. So we got to bring it back, and we got to understand we can't do it divided. We got to do it together.
amen. And we had our own Altadena, you
Yeah,
know, which I like to
yeah.
call Black Wall Street, even though there were, lower economic parts. But my experience has been, well-to-do people right there in Altadena, who just got burned down and
Again, yeah.
unnecessary. And not that we're negating any of the beautiful people in Pacific Palisades who we're going to talk about in our series on the fires as well. Everybody, our hearts go out to them
All
consistently.
human beings.
Yeah,
Yes.
has happened there. But and going back to the celebration and Black history, we want to take the time out to salute you, Bobby, as I mentioned earlier. And let's go right into the technique. Well, before we do that, for those who are just joining us, I mentioned as we opened that Bobby has been an actor. He's played on he played OJ on the OJ story, and he also just give us a little bit of snippets on your acting career, and so we
Okay.
can move to the other part of your celebration.
I'm an accidental actor. While I was at UCLA, I was coming out of the bank at Security Pacific Bank before Bank of America took it over, and it was where all the Bruins, all the students would have their bank accounts. And I was coming out of the bank. I don't know if I was depositing $5 and I was getting out $250 because we were broke. We had, but anyway, Mark Harmon, NCIS fame, was our color commentator at the time. He's a few years ahead of me, so I was a USC fan anyway. I didn't follow UCLA until they gave me a scholarship. I'm a Bruin until till the end. But Mark was coming into the bank and he stopped me and said, "Hey, Bobby, have you called those people yet?" And he had never mentioned anything about calling anybody, but I said, "No, I'm going to keep walking." He goes, "Hey, let me give you the number again. Ask for Chris and tell her I told you to call." And the only reason I called Linda was because I knew I was going to see him again. He's our color commentator. He's always around. I didn't want to say no twice to somebody trying to help me, right? So I call him. It turns out to be a commercial agent. I was taking sports broadcasting at the time, so I knew how to read copy and sound like I'm talking. So I went to my professor, Friedman, and he puts together this list of things that I had never done. For example, he said that I did blow by blow at the Olympic Auditorium where they had the boxing back in the day. It said I did Bruin basketball color, and one week I'd be color, next week I'd be the announcer, and never did any of that. We did it in class, but so we put this resume together. I'll go to the athletic department. I asked Joanne, she was the assistant to our main secretary of the office. Do you know what a resume is? She says, yes. And so you need one? I said, yeah, can you put all this stuff on it? And she does it, and all nice and neat. And I didn't know what a headshot was because the lady asked me, did I have pictures of myself? I said, well, who doesn't? I got first grade all the way up to. So I went to this, the Daily Bruin photographer who took pictures of our games. I got a couple in the Bruin too, tackling people, whatever. I said, you know what a headshot is? He goes, yeah, you need one? I go, yeah. And so he took me up to the Powell Library, and I got it out smiling like this. So I do a big old cheesy smile. So I staple it together, and I go in the office, finally get to meet the lady. She reads it. She looks at me like this. You did all this? Oh, yes, I have. Why have I not heard of you? I have no idea. So she hands me this piece of paper, which is a copy of a commercial. She said, go over that, and I'm going to make a phone call. I guess she thought it might take me 10, 15 minutes because I learned since that actors go through all these reasons why I'm living and why I have to read and before they can come to read these words. I look at the words, I get it, because I learned that if you want to play on Saturday, you do what coach says in the meetings, in practice. And on Saturday, guess who's going to start? You. So it was easy. So she says, you ready? I'm the camera. And I say, action, you give it to me. Now, I have a memory like an elephant, so I don't forget nothing. So she goes, action. I said, I can't even boil an egg, but with this new salad dressing, I can make a fantastic Caesar salad. You take lettuce, tomatoes, and onions and whatever, and do like the name says, toss and serve, and voila, fantastic Caesar salad. Now I got to work on that egg. She goes, oh my God, you're a natural. I go, what? I am? She goes, yes, I am. Yes, you are. I'm going to send you out. I said, well, ma'am, I'm on scholarship and I can't work for another year. And I'll be back in a year. And I saw her like literally melt in front of me like the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz got water. I just watched her melt. I said, okay. I came back a year later. First audition, I go on a Safeway grocery store. And I was supposed to go in as an athlete. So whenever we'd play somebody, we'd always buy a T-shirt at that school. So it was the University of Washington. I had the Huskies on. The guy asked me, did you go to the University of Washington? I said, no, we played against them. He goes, you played against them? What sport? I said, football. He goes, you played football against the University of Washington? I go, yeah, because we whooped their butt, right? And they ain't nothing to me. So he goes, where you go to school? I said, UCLA. You play football at UCLA? He's going, like, yeah. And he started asking about my teammates. And then he goes, okay, thank you. And I'm thinking, I'm very unimpressed with acting. I'm going, this is acting? I leave. Well, they booked me and I get it, but I'm not, my category changed and they made me the guy with the vest on. Back in those days, the grocery store guys dressed sharp. Remember, you had the bow tie on and they used to Safeway grocery store. I had a vest on. I'm pushing carts across the parking lot. A little old lady left her lights on and I had to put a jumper cables on her car. And so I was the first commercial I got. My audition, I got the third audition I went on. I got the fifth audition. I was just like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing what they told me. Because I know how to get on the field on Saturday. Just listen what coach say and do exactly what he say. That's how I follow directions. So I would do like 10 national TV commercials, the 15 national TV commercials, and I go off to Canada and make what we used to call cartoon money because their money's different colors. And I come home with like $8,000 after 6 months of playing football. But I saw myself as a football player. I didn't see myself as anything else. And that opportunity, it just opened the door for me. So as I got older, I was about 26 and 27. I said, I need to start studying. So when I get out of this, I'll be able to go do that. Because on my audition, on my commercials, I'd always have some famous person you saw in soap operas or somebody. And I overhear them talking about the method and Stanislavski and nothing that I knew about. It's not a blitz. It's not a coverage. That stuff I know. I said, I need to know this kind of stuff. So I started taking classes, and I'm an artist. I didn't know that. I can make you cry. I can put fear in you. I can. It's not showing it. It's making you experience it, and that's what I got over time. That I'm good at it, and so I stayed at it. And Then my life changed in 2006, and my focus changed because I went on an audition that I was told we're in that era right now where all this stuff is being revealed. Well, my agent said, Bobby, this producer, he's known to hit on that. I'm like, what? He's known to hit on actors, so just be aware when you go on. So I'm like, and I'm supposed to be lovey-dovey with the lead of the show, female, but I don't say the lines like I'm lovey-dovey. There's lovey-dovey words, but it's not coming out lovey-dovey because I don't want this job. So when I leave, I said, Lord, I don't think I want to do this no more because I'm an accidental actor anyway. It's not something I wanted to do all my life. I'm not a, but I said, what do I do best? He said, communicate with young people. That was the answer. I said, well, what do I know best? Football. But the gift I gave you, I'm the gift you, oh yeah. Because my son was 12. He said, Daddy, will you sign me up for football? I'm like, man, I wish he'd wait till he was 25. I'd have said, I don't care. But he's 12. And so, okay, I'm going to sign you up, but I'm going to help out because I don't want you to get hurt. And I ended up being the head coach reluctantly because the other coach quit, and all the parents know my history. I played at UCLA and whatnot, and they begged me to, I said, okay. And now I got 28, and they're just as precious in their mother and father's sight as mine is in mine. So I said, Lord, teach me to teach them. And I said, well, I didn't have any words, Linda. I didn't have any words because I taught myself how to tackle because when I was 14, I got a concussion hitting like that. And the guy's hip hit me in my temple and I started throwing up and I never experienced that. And so I learned I ain't doing that no more. I'm going to run up on you and just throw double uppercuts and boom. And I would just light you up and I would never get hurt and they wouldn't get hurt. And
Is that that's very interesting that you had to go through that experience yourself at the age of 14 to really know what it felt like and what a concussion was all about. How that's really interesting. Okay, go right ahead.
and so now at the same time, I'm dyslexic, but not knowing it, I just knew I couldn't read because my father would be like, boy, you know that damn word? And I would, was? Well, one minute it would be saw, and the next minute it would be was. I didn't know why I was doing that. It just slowed me down. So consequently, I would never read out loud in class because I know my boys are going to laugh at me. And so I would get kicked out of class for being, a tough guy. And I wasn't a tough guy. I just was ashamed and embarrassed. And so in ninth grade, I was a running back. I was fast, and I got a first down on fourth down and won. And everybody went crazy. Now, I didn't understand the rules. Not the rules, but I didn't know the significance of getting that first down meant maybe we kept the ball and we got to run the clock out and we win. That's why everybody jumping. I didn't know that. I just saw everybody jumping up and down. And that was the first time I felt really good about me since third grade when I flunked. And my sister and I were in the same grade because in those days, she's 11 months older than me in 10 days. So in those days, you could go to kindergarten if you didn't pee on yourself. So I didn't pee on myself. So I went to kindergarten with my sister. I went to first grade with my sister. I went to second grade with my sister. I went to third grade with my sister. And she went upstairs to the fourth grade, and I had to stay back. So I don't know if that traumatized me. I don't know the extent of how I really felt. If I look back, did a regression on myself? I don't know. But I know it did affect me. So I had this low self-esteem all the way up, well, really all my life because of that. And when I got that first down, everything slowed down.
That was because of the tackle? That was because of the concussion?
No, it had nothing to do with it. No, it had nothing to do with it. It just, I had my mother had a very difficult birth with me. She had been injured, broke her water. And actually, when she had her feet in the stirrups in the hospital, the doctor came in the room and said, do you want to keep the child? My mother said yes. Right? She could have got rid of me then. So from the very beginning, I have a calling.
Okay. All right. And we're still going back to the brain and the head, and that is still staying with you your whole life. So you got hit with that trauma in your head at 14. Then you had to go through your life with dyslexia. And prior to that, you were someone that had to be decided at birth and a choice being made by your mom. So all of this compiled together brought you to the place where you decided that, boom, and God said to you, that still small voice that we all love to hear, said to you, When you asked, and he said to you, work with children. And so
Yes.
so bring us up to speed on now, because what we really want to do when we come back, we have to take a station break, but we want to be able to really get these parents involved in the seriousness of head trauma, the seriousness of concussions and their results, and the wonderful method that you have invented, that is accredited, approved, and loved by all, and that you are literally teaching right now to children, that has created positive numbers for you so far and results. And we want to make sure that we get that message out. So when we come back, everybody, stay tuned. You're watching Variety Talk Live. This is Linda Leak, and you're sitting there with Coach Bobby Hosea. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Atkinson, financial consultant with Gnostic Solutions, powered by Appreciation Financial. I'm personally here today to invite you to learn more about financial empowerment. In today's world, financial literacy is the key to success. And we equipped you with the information that you're going to need and that knowledge you're going to need too. Financial literacy is not just about the numbers, because it's about your hopes, your dreams, and your family's future. You are unique, so we will make a unique game plan just for you and your family. The tools that we're going to be able to provide you is how to get out of debt, how to plan for retirement, where you should be investing, and so then you can stay retired and help your family's future get better. I would love to give a huge shout out to Variety Talks for their new fall season that's coming up. Again, this is Charlotte Atkinson, and you can reach me at 937-901-5686 or at Charlotte at Gnostic Solutions. Again, no business or family is left behind with Gnostic Solutions.
Hi, everybody. We're back. You're watching Variety Talk, and you're sitting in with Mr. Bobby Jose, Coach Bobby Hosea of Train 'em Up Academy, who has recognized and noticed that there is a need for football players to what? Avoid injuries. And he has created his own uh, tackle-free, it's called a 12-step progression program, and we will dive into that just when we get back. But I want everybody to really take a look at this program and recognize that if you have children, this is just so relevant and so important for you to really take a look at his program, follow his lead on where he's going to take you after this show, so that we can avoid concussions with our children. We are also celebrating Bobby Hosea during this Black History Month. Why? Because he has invented this 12-step program, and he is the first African American person to do so. So we are celebrating history, even with this young man that's sitting before you in front of the screen. He's not some old man that passed away, or can't find his teeth or anything like that. I just had to make everybody laugh. And speaking of laughing, Bobby, I didn't get a chance to say this when we started. Okay, so I hope you see my shirt. And
I got the Bears. The Bears.
So I'm picking up where we left off. For those of you who are just joining us and may not know, okay, in case you haven't figured it out, no matter what, okay, I'm a diehard Bears fan, and so I'm still hopeful, and that's why I'm wearing the shirt. So no matter who wins or what happens, even though hey, we're celebrating right now, Philadelphia and Kansas City. We hey, we still love you too. But the Bears, I got plenty of hope in you, Bears. So moving forward, everybody, grab your pens, your papers, and we're going to dig a little deep into this 12-step Hosea technique, a program that everybody needs to know about. And Bobby will be able to, and so he actually teaches at San Bernardino University. So he
Valley
teaches.
College. Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's junior college, Valley College, but it's the JC.
Okay.
Community college. Yes.
So he coaches there. So he coaches adults, as well as teaching children. So well-rounded, well-respected. And so just, dig in, everybody, so we can hear this Black history story. Bobby, tell us briefly about the 12-step program.
Well, like I said, I reluctantly became the head coach of these little boys, and 12 years old, I think 10 to 12-year-olds. And I was scared to death to see one of them that couldn't get up because of me. And so I didn't have words the way I tackle. Nobody told me no words of how to tackle. I did it on my own after I got my concussion. I ain't doing it like this no more. And as I got older, I got more, I had very bad words for what I wanted, my intentions. So you can't say those words to little boys. You're going to have a conversation with their parents, right? So you got to think of something. So I just said, well, how do I make a tackle? And so I just went and started going through it. And at the end of it, there were 12 steps. There were 12, and that's how I became. And so I named every one of them, and I wrote them down. And the moments, it's the critical moments of while you're making this. So start out. How do you start out? Well, you start out lower than the ball carrier. Why is that important? Because the ball carrier acts. So if you're running and we're both the same height, and he drops, and then I drop, boom, that's helmet to helmet. Well, we got to have our eyes below the face mask while we're lined up across from them, across the field. And as we run at them, we know eventually I'm going to make you drop your shoulder pads. I'm going to make you cut left. I'm going to make you cut right because I am in control of it. So I'm not going to be surprised by whatever you do. But so I told the kids, everybody, get in a sprinter stance. I ran the 400-meter relay. I ran the anchor. I know what a sprinter stance is. I'm waiting for the third leg to get there. So you got that right? They didn't know what it was. They're 7, or they're 9, or they're 12. But they knew who the Silver Surfer was. The Silver Surfer is one of the Fantastic Four who rides on a surfboard, and he's up in space. He comes from the moon. And so every one of them, boom, they jumped into it. So that became the very first step. And with that, you visualize. You actually see the ball carrier. There's nobody in front of you. I put it in your head. You play with your mind, not with your head. So you see the ball carrier. I even say, what's the color of his jersey? What numbers he got? And whatever color shirt I have on, that's the color of the jersey. It just so happens. And what color is his face mask? What color is his helmet? Okay. All right. Boom. And you're in that position. That's the very first step. You take off. And then when you close into the ball carrier, you got to buzz your feet. So now you got to teach them what does that mean? You got to sink your hips. You keep your waist at a 45, your chin and eyes up. You keep your neck the lordotic curve in your neck. Neutral position. It's the only tackle technique in the whole world that keeps you. They want you to do that. They want you to put your shoulder on their hip. But where's my head going down? And it's a lie. They tell you your head ain't down. Your head is down. His hip is there. My head is up here. So how am I? This is false. So it's false. So that's why everybody's getting hurt. It's from the 1800s, and they haven't changed.
Wow.
And the reason is this is I every time over the years I've done this a long time. I wrote Roger Goodell in 2007. I wrote him a letter, told him I had this system. They wrote me back, we don't take outside solicitation. We probably already have it in it, so thank you, but no thank you. Okay. So they went on. Then 2011 comes around. That's when all this Junior Seau kills himself, and Andre Waters of the Eagles kills himself, and all these different people are killing themselves. CTE is discovered. Will Smith does concussion. They're in the League of Denial. And I'm telling you something right now, ain't nothing changed. They ain't got no better. So anyway, they go to Congress. The NFL has to go to Congress to testify what's going on with your industry, because it's destroying our children. It's destroying what's going on. What are you guys doing about it? They had no answer. Well, after they testified, a father whose son died in Texas from a brain injury, and a man who created the Zenith helmets, Dr. Vin Ferreira, he sponsored my tackle camps.
Wow.
And so he testified in Congress about me as a solution to this problem. The father said if his son had this technique, he wouldn't have lost his life. So I get emotional when I think, whoa, it just hit me. So that's what it's really about. So I didn't even know that. And then I get a call from a coach that was at UCLA in 76 when I redshirted. And he left with Coach Dick Vermeil to the Eagles. Wow, look at that. The Eagles came up again. Coach Dick Vermeil got hired to the Eagles in 76, and I redshirted that year. Well, anyway, this coach who was there in 76 called me in 2011 out of the blue. Hey, Coach, how you doing? I'm like, how you doing, Bobby? He said, I'm the CEO of USA Football. I said, well, congratulations, Coach. He said, well, hold on now. I'm really concerned about what they're teaching about this tackling stuff. You know, we hired these guys from the U.S. Olympic Committee. They can run the company, but they don't know a D word about football. Can you look at the tackling for me? I said, sure, Coach. Immediately, my heart, that's one of my coaches, even though he didn't coach my position, he's a coach there on the staff. So I'm down. Whatever you need. So he sent me. They have bite the ball. That means literally take your face, your teeth, and put it on a football because they want you to make them fumble. But what's going to happen to your neck? It's going to compress like an accordion. What's going to happen to your brain? Your head's going to stop and it's going to fly forward and it's going to smash against the inside of your skull and it's going to rip open. It's going to bleed. Then they had head across the front. Well, that's how I got hurt when I was 14. I was going head across the front, putting my arms around his waist, and I get hit in the temple and I'm vomiting and all that. First concussion ever. I know that's dangerous. Then I go, well, dang. No wonder everybody getting hurt. I tore it up and threw it over my head. And I said, Lord, coaches are lazy. They're not going to do my 12 steps. He says, give them 6. I said, okay. And of the 6, they chose 5. Now, of the 6 I do give you, which one is the best? If I were to give you 6 steps, which one's going to be the best? It's going to be the first one. Because the first one, visualize, encompasses everything. It's got the very beginning of the tackle and the end of it because you see your body the whole time. You see how you progress to the ball carrier. You see how they move. You see how you move. They didn't want that. It's too revealing. So they started with ready position. Ready position is I'm ready to see your snot. You cut that way, I'm going to knock the snot out of you. You cut that, I'm going to knock the snot out of you. You come right at me, boom, I'm going to knock the snot out. So, because little boys like that. They like boogers, they like, farts, and they like the, guts of frogs. And little boys are that way. So that helped them learn, and it got them away from the fear of it, right? You're never going to see anybody's snot, but you're always looking. So that's because your head is up, right? So I sent them 6 of my 12 steps. Next thing you know, I'm named, unbeknownst to me, I'm named USA Football's tackling expert, and they put me on their football wellness committee. So the vice president comes back in the room, and his eyes look like, like we come out Christmas morning, we got a new bike. It's like, oh, I got my new bike, or my BB gun, or my new dog. His eyes are like this, and he goes, do you know every medical sports discipline says if you take the crown of the helmet out of the tackle, you'll eliminate all these injuries? I said, well, yeah, Mr. Wilson, that's what this last 45 minutes was kind of all about. It's kind of funny. And so I do 200 coaches that year. They had a 97% reduction in concussions. 97% reduction. That's huge. And then they hired me the next year. And then I had 3,000 coaches. And I don't know what the stats were after that, but it was going up. And then they called me back and said, Bobby, we want to make sure that your system does what you say it does because we're going to have these scientists tested. I said, well, wait a minute. Hold up. What are you talking about? What do I say it does? Well, you say it prevents concussion. I said, well, yeah, it does that. But what about these scientists? So they tell me the story about the girls' soccer team getting a lot of knee injuries in Irvine, and they hired this particular testing organization to test their.
Interrupt just for a second because I want everybody to understand that this technique, and thank you so much for showing us how you went through the processes and the stages of convincing, and not even having to convince, for people to believe in you and what you're doing and how you got there. But one of the most important things I want them to understand is this 12-step program is really 12 steps. And just to define it and simplify for people, it is an opportunity to teach children or adults for that matter that it's a different way of playing ball. And what you're saying or what you said earlier was that some of the techniques that were being used were antiquated, something from the 1800s. And now you have invented a technique that involves 9 steps. And if they play according to those 9 steps, you can
12.
I use the word guarantee but you can actually say, and feel confident that the injury rate will go down or decrease astronomically. That's what you're
I'm
saying.
the only person on the planet that can say that in the
Okay.
world.
Well,
That's
boom.
amazing.
And
That's why when you say evidence, that means you can't say that unless it's been proven through scientific measurements. And what were the measurements done by? The Rydell helmet manufacturer was the only helmet manufacturer that had actual sensors inside the helmet. So what that was about was $1,000 helmet. So if a kid took a blow that was too unacceptably large, they would get that kid off the field to check them to see if they're okay. That was the whole premise behind it. And so they bought the helmet for me. I have a peanut head size, 7 1/8 helmet. And I was supposed to go to their laboratory at USC, take my sled down there and me tackle it with my technique and then do the traditional tackling technique. And they would measure and see what came out of it. But they called me in the middle of the week and said, Bobby, you have all the kids at your camp, so we're going to come to your camp. And so I see them setting up, and my little guys, my youngest, are going out because they go to bed at night on Friday night, where the older guys stay up. So I get the older guys out later. And so the little guys are leaving, and I don't have any older guys. And all of a sudden, the one kid that came the week before, 14 years old, he walks up the steps to us, and I asked his father, would he sign the release to allow his son to do this for me? He goes, sure. And they put the helmet on, Linda, and it fit like a glove, like we bought it for him. And wow, and it, boom, popped it on. And then the scientist was putting on the receptor that sends the information to the computer, and the helmet sends out its own. It measures the size of the blow, the angle of the blow, the force, all that. And they do all the calculating. So before he walked away, he told the kid, be sure to put your head to the side. Well, if you put your head to the side, you're not going to make contact with that sled. But what about the other 21 guys that are out there trying to tackle that same ball carrier? You're going to get hit in the top of the head by one of them because they're coming from the left, they're coming from the right, they're coming from the front, they're coming from the back. So to have your head down there is not safe. It's false. It's a false. It's false. It's a lie. So if you have your head up here, who go hit it up here? Nobody, right? So that's how you get it. That's how I teach. So it came to my acting classes. You got to learn moment to moment. You can't do the first of the scene at the beginning, the end of the scene, the beginning. Like, for example, I tell you one where you come home from work, you see your wife, she's fixing dinner, it's all good, and then you go in the restroom and there's a pair of old Dickies underwear on the floor. It's like, I wear Fruit of the Loom. What is these Dickies doing in here? So now all of a sudden we got to talk. So you can't come in the house going, hey, baby, how you doing? I know I'm going to find some underwear in the bathroom. So you can't play that emotion yet. You got to be moment to moment. So with that, same thing with making a tackle. It's moment to moment. So as I did it, that when I dipped, I had to have, okay, what do I look like? What does it feel like to dip? Well, you have your front foot like you're coming out of the blocks, right? You have your back foot right behind you a little bit, and you're reaching with your booger fingers, what I tell the kids, because they remember it, they laugh. They grab imaginary hand grenade pins, and their waist is at a 45, and they rip up, and their eyes are belt buckle high. That's how low they are. They say low man wins, but see, they want you to be like this, head, hips. No, you want to be like this.
Okay. All right. Now, for the females who only know about the bulls right now, I'm going to keep you less technical and let you get into that technical part when everybody calls you, because right now we want to make sure that they just know all about this technique and why it works. And then that's what you're doing for us. So thank you. We're going to take one more station break. And when we come back, we want to hear about the refrigerator magnets. And how everybody can get involved with this. So everybody, you're watching Variety Talk. I'm your host, Linda Leak. You're sitting in with Coach Bobby Hosea, who knows everything about football. That's why you're getting all this detail, okay? And all of the technical stuff. I'm telling you, he has proven that he can make sure that everyone stays injury-free. And so we'll be right back.
Need a loan? Consider a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage will provide tax-free cash, eliminate monthly mortgage payments, and offers a financial safety net. If you can use a loan, call Jordan Gibbs today at 323-899-5547. That's 323-899-5547.
Hi, everybody. We're back. And I want to lead in with just a few statistics that are a little different from, a lot different actually, from those of adults playing NFL football. But we want to focus right now on those children who are out there playing without having the Bobby Hosea technique. And I want to just share a little statistics with you in letting you know that football players ages 5 to 14, it shows, this is according to UW Medicine Sports Health and Safety Institute in Seattle. They're saying that football players ages 5 to 14 were higher than previously reported. And there were 5 out of every 100 youth that experienced or had sustaining football related concussions each season. Now, Bobby, what are your thoughts on that? Because from what I'm understanding, you're seeing that there's an entirely different, there's an entirely different take on this study based on African American football players, youth football players. So share with us what your thoughts are.
Yeah, there's only 1,800 grown men playing football for money. There's 6 million children. Okay, so their stats are way different. So what caused me to walk away from acting and say I didn't know I was walking away, but I when I left that particular audition, that I didn't want to work that job, so I didn't want to. I thought about not even acting anymore. I just kind of said to myself, Lord, what do I do best? And that was communicate with young people. And what do I know best? Basically came out to be tackling football. And so I said, I'm going to go out and be like Johnny Appleseed and teach everybody how to tackle, because nobody knows how to tackle. So I go online, and when you go online, anything you're looking for is everything related to that's going to pop up. So when I'm looking for football equipment for tackling camp, concussions pop up, paralysis pop up, and fatalities pop up, and it's all about children. And that was 2006, and it was from 2000. From the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons said that each year there were more than 448,000 football-related injuries reported. Football-related injuries to children under the age of 15, totaling more than $6.89 billion in medical, legal, and liability costs annually. So that's 3 totally unrelated industries to football that are making a windfall because of the ineptitude of coaches at the youth level. They don't have a standard of care. So they're teaching stuff that their grandfather taught them. They're teaching stuff that his grandfather taught him. And they're not even really caring about the well-being of the child. They're more concerned about the performance and winning the game. Thus, they have things like bite the ball, which means put your face on a football and somebody's running full speed at you. What do you think is going to happen to you? So that's why those stats are real high. So, but then that's not even it. I found out during COVID, but that's when I found it out. It just happened. It wouldn't have nothing to do with COVID, but just that's what was going down when I found out about it. It's not the ones that get reported. It's the unreported. And then you look at the race issue and the way they said it, the non-Hispanic. So I guess we're Hispanic too. So I guess the color, the pigmentation of the skin, they when they go to the hospital, say there's an injury in the same game, one kid on that side of the field and the other kid on the other side of the field. They're in the same game, playing, and they get the same injury. The ambulance takes this kid, and he takes the non-Hispanic kid. Well, the non-Hispanic kid's going to get a concussion diagnosis, and there's somebody trying to call me. Hold on a second. I think somebody's calling me. Linda, can you move? Can you move your body? Yeah, you froze. I don't want to accept this call.
Hi, everybody. In on our Super Bowl summary. Hi, everybody. You're watching Variety Talk, and we're back on our final segment with actor, coach Bobby Hosea, and most importantly, inventor of the 12-step Hosea tackling progressive program that will assist you and any football player and their children in alleviating head concussions. And we are celebrating Bobby again today as he moves forward with this program that has been accepted in many arenas and is doing quite well. So we're here today to actually not only celebrate him, but to share with you, the audience, a way that you can jump right on board with this technique and be a part. So I've actually had an opportunity to check out a few statistics that were quite not concurrent with what we know is happening. And Bobby will be able to explain a little bit more about that. But I'm looking at something that says there's new research from UW Medicine Sport Health and Safety Institute that states that football players ages 5 to 14 were higher previously were higher than previously reported, with only 5 out of every 100 youth, or 5%, sustaining football related concussions. And so, Bob is just the enemy. We got to start all over again because of this darn, my alarm clock. Hang on 1 second.
I got you.
Oh my goodness. I mean, and it did it twice, but I'm trying not to keep reaching up to and throwing it off. Hang on 1 second. Hi, everybody. We're back on our last segment, and you're watching Variety Talk. I'm here with actor and coach and overall good guy, Coach Bobby Hosea, CEO and inventor of the Hosea 12-step tackling non-injury program. And this is something that we are excited to share with all of you, inasmuch as concussions are and have been a very serious problem with those who have been playing football over the years. Bobby is with us today because he is the very first African American who has invented this technique, and he is eminence in the health and wellness coaching industry, so designated by the IRS, and in 2021. And so, with that being said, we want to give him his flowers today. I guess you can give guys flowers. Yeah, we want to give him his flowers and his kudos as he is still young and youthful and implementing this program with so many people. So, for those of you who have children who play ball, and I'm sure all of you are interested in their safety and well-being, please make sure that you check out this last segment where we're going to speak briefly about how you can get involved. So, Bobby, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Bobby, tell us a little bit. We were going to get a little bit into statistics, and I was going to read a few things, but just overall, I was reading something that states that 5% of African American, 5% of youth have are affected. Only see the thing dropped. The thing dropped back, and I shouldn't have even let that bother me. And all of a sudden, because it's like unbelievable. I had something coming in too, so I'm going to cut and go back. We're going to cut right here. So, Bobby, I was reading that 5% of children between the ages, I guess, of 5 to 14, I believe it was, have been affected with concussions just recently. What do you think about those numbers?
That's not that seems like it's nobody. It's not very many, but no. But the actual is in 2000, the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons said that there's over each year there are more than 448,000 reported football related injuries to children under the age of 14, totaling more than $6.89 billion in medical, legal, and liability costs. So it's way, and they're not, when they're talking about 5%, they're not talking about just somebody bumped their head and they need to lay down for a little while. They're talking about a catastrophic brain injury, paralysis, or even death. So that's what they're talking about. So imagine your child dying because of playing a game. That's enough. That's more than enough. So what we got to do is mitigate, lessen the injuries. What causes them is that they're not accidents. None of them are accidents. It's either intentional, inherent, or instructional. And two of them can be totally eliminated. You can be never put your head on somebody. That's your choice. And then the other one is the teaching stuff that causes it. You need to know what they are. Safety is only a word unless you know what's dangerous. So a lot of this talk about safety, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just saying the word because it feels good. But like 5%, no, that's more than that. But we're not here to talk about the problem. We're here to talk about the solution and not have it. And so one way you can get it, because one of the things that people have trouble with is they don't want to pay any money for this and that, but they'll go out and pay for that hairdo, they pay for that car wash, they'll go pay for those whatever, and they stuff to make you feel good, but they won't take their child in consideration and this dangerous, and they need to be trained. It's not about the coaches because the coaches don't have a standard of care, so they're not required to even know what causes a concussion. Coaches are not required to know how to prevent one, and they're actually teaching things that cause it, and they don't even know that because there's no mechanism to teach them that, because that's just the way it is, and it always has been. Well, it's who loves you, baby. I did this because I love my son. But then I had 28 others. Their mother and father loved them just as much too. So now I want to make sure nobody's laying down. So I had to focus, and that's where it came from. So I asked the Lord to teach me to teach them, and that's where it came from. So I have a bottomless pit every camp. I'll even have a 4-year-old in my camp, and they go away knowing how to do it because I can teach them because I have a button. I don't know. I just got a resource, and I know where it comes from. But anyway, I have a program where it's free, but you got to do your due diligence. How do you make it free? Well, it's $150 to sign up. This is what you got to do. If you want to take my system, you got to go take my online course. It's $150 buy-in. It's $45 a month subscription. And then everything else comes in. But then this magnet right here, who loves you, baby? This is a refrigerator magnet that I came up with, and I am a helmet-free tackle safety advocate. So and then once you buy in as a player, say you want to play football, and you have to buy this yourself. It's $30 or more, right? So the people that are going to donate, if they choose to give you $300, $3,000, or the corporation wants to give you $10,000 for your whole league for this one little thing, you can pay that, but it's $30. And what that does is it's partnership with the person that buys it to protect you. So my great aunt, or my uncle, or my granddad, or my mother's best friend, or the neighbor, or the mayor of the town, or whatever, can buy this magnet, and 42% goes back to you. So I'll give you 42% of this magnet I don't care how much it costs, because you have your own URL, personal URL, where you go on all your platforms and you ask whomever that loves you, baby, to buy this for your well-being, not for socks and shoes, but for your immediate and long-term brain health and wellness, because brain health is wealth. Without your brains, you can't go to college. And that's why we're in this, I don't know if you heard of the NIL. Your NIL stands for your something, your image and likeness. Yeah, name, image, and likeness. Well, I said the PIL. A personal image and likeness for the youth league, right? So they go out and instead of standing in front of Kmart or wherever asking for donations, selling candy late at night in the rain, cold, little kids out there in the dangers, nobody does anything. You don't even try to see the money. You just order this online and it gets sent to your house. And it's a magnet. It just goes on your refrigerator. But now you've partnered with someone, and it's called Sticking Together for Life, the Refrigerator Magnet Initiative 2025. So you're sticking together for that person's life. So that little boy that maybe might be 5, maybe he might be 9, but you got him for the rest of his life, his football playing career. So it's easy to, support. So you can buy everything, and all of it can be free with someone buying this, and it'll pay for itself. And I'll pay you 42% for spreading the word, for being an affiliate. That's basically what it is. You're your own affiliate. And so you just tell people that love you, who loves you, baby, and they buy it, and you get 42% of it put in your pocket to pay,
Beautiful. Now, we're going to go to your website and get additional information on this, can you give us the name of your website?
Yes, my website is thehoseamethod.com. So that's TheHosea method, METHOD.com. That's it, the HoseaMethod.com. That's my way of teaching you, and I named it because now you can't play with that. You can't, like I used to call it the helmet free. It is the helmet free method because the helmet is not going to engage. You don't get a free helmet. It's not going to be involved in the tackle. That's why it's helmet free. You're going to make a tackle, you're not going to hit with your head at all. So that's what, but people try to say the helmetless tackle. Well, you can't play football helmetless. So you're playing with words to try to get them bite off of me, but you're not coming with science. You're playing with you're going to get sued. I'm the only person that can say concussion preventive on the planet. There's nobody the NFL can't say it. I created heads up tackle for them, but they bastardized it and said they still want to put the head to the side. I said, no, you can't put the head to the side. That's the problem. Why did y'all call me? I'm not going to accept that. So I had to disassociate myself from the whole heads up movement, USA football, all that, because they're not doing it the right way. I'm talking about everybody. So stop playing with it. These are your children. They should know more about tackling. The coach is not going to know more about it than they're not going to teach you what I'm teaching because they're all in the same boat. You know, like I said, I did 3,000 coaches, trained them in 2011. I've done 3 in 14 years since. So you tell me what it is. So and I was going to tell you this as well. It's just funny when a little black child or brown child goes to the hospital, they're in the same game. When they get hit, they got to get in the ambulance. They go to the hospital. When they get to emergency, one will get a concussion diagnosis. The other will get a head contusion. Well, a concussion requires you have to get visited to the hospital again. You got to visit that doctor, and they got to release you to be able to play because they gave them that diagnosis, concussion. Contusion is just a bruise. You don't have to revisit. Why? Because that kid doesn't have insurance. They have the insurance to cover the league but they don't have the personal insurance to go revisit that doctor. So they don't get that diagnosis. So now that child is susceptible to a second impact syndrome. That means if he get hit in his head again, he's going to die or have a much worse concussion. And that's going to change him for the rest of his life. So that's why we talk about the immediate and long term. So we don't want any more Junior Seau's. We don't want any more Andre Waters. We don't want any more of that. We don't want your Dave Durson. We don't want another Dave Durson. I'm sitting in a meeting with a guy by the name of Chris Lewinsky out here we were at in Redondo, not Redondo Beach, but Manhattan Beach at the Marriott. They were having a concussion convention. And he's part of Dr. Cantu's organization. Dr. Cantu is the world's foremost authority on concussions, sports-related concussions. And he wanted to meet me. So I met him at Starbucks in Redondo Beach on the way to the clinic. And not even 2 minutes into our sitting down, just got our coffee sitting down, barely met each other, his cell phone rings. The person on the other end told him Dave Durson had just committed suicide and left a note to make sure his brain is donated to his organization. That ain't nothing but the Lord. How am I sitting there with this man and Dave Durson's call come to people telling this man that Dave Durson killed himself he was on the 85 Bears. He was one of the best. He's all pro. He should have been I think he's in the Hall of Fame. But he had killed himself and said for them, left a note to please donate his brain to the brain bank to find out what's going on with him. And I wish they would have done the same thing for OJ. They say they didn't do it. They just buried him because I think he had some characteristics that might have been related to CTE as well. So a lot of his behaviors might have been related to that as well. You don't know. So we need to know. We need to know how it happens, and we need to know how to prevent it. And that's what I've done.
And and thank you. Good note to jump in on when you said that's what I've done. And that's why we are here today to say thank you for doing that and continuing to do what you're doing. And I just want everybody to take this very, very seriously. I'm not a football girl, as we know, but I'm learning. And I can tell that just over the past 3 years, concussions have been extremely serious because that's all I kept hearing about, unless I was just open to it. But I continuously kept hearing about and this was with the not the kids, but the NFL players getting concussions. And so I just want go ahead.
Well, the first two Saturdays of this season, just passed, 11 children died from football-related injuries, and 7 of them were high school, 4 of them were youth. That was in the first 2 weeks of the season. And so, and then in October, a young man at Alabama A&M, linebacker, freshman, died on the field from a brain injury. So this is very serious.
Yeah, it is very serious. And so we appreciate, and as you mentioned, Will Smith, whoever wrote and directed that certainly would not have taken the time out to do what they did if this was not a serious issue. One thing I want to comment on, if we have time, is just to share with you my recall of an incident where an African American, just as you're mentioning, but this was with the NFL, was diagnosed and treated differently and given a different diagnosis from the white player. And it turned out that they had the exact same experience and the exact same problem, but yet they were diagnosed differently. And there was a big fallout behind it and a legal fallout behind it. And so I can understand and thank you for sharing with us why the statistics that I gave of that 5% is not really representative of what's happening exactly out there on a multicultural level. And so that does make a difference, as we all know. So, and we can end on that note by saying that this is Black History Month. And as we salute Philadelphia for their great success, and we also salute you as we continue to be thankful for the inventors, the entertainers, all who have made a difference and are making a difference in history. So we thank you so much for joining us today. And this is like an annual thing. You happened to join us again last time, and we had a great time together. And everybody, make sure you go to Bobby Hosea's website. And can you give that out one more time, Bobby?
It's thehoseamethod.com.
All right. And check them out. Okay. Get your kids involved. Get involved, everybody. Let's support each other. This is a networking show. People helping people is our motto. And, at this time, we all really do need to come together. Bobby, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say for every coach, for every mom, for every player, the question is, what's your plan to protect the immediate and long-term brain health and wellness of your players in 2025 that you didn't do in 2024? I think this is the answer right here. This is the answer right here.
All right.
Get educated, play with your mind, not with your head.
All right. And there you have it. Bobby Hosea, actor, coach, entrepreneur, and overall good guy. All right, everybody. He cares. He does care. All right. So we'll see you next time. You've been joining us on Variety Talk. And I'm your host, Linda Leak. And go Bears! Go Bears!
Go Bears! The Bears!
So, Bobby, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.